Greetings and thank you for joining us in another SmartSafe ADAS calibration video. In today's session, we'll be working with a 2023 Subaru Ascent and we'll be calibrating Subaru's latest wide-angle mono camera using our SmartSafe ADAS Pro Plus calibration system. Now, the wide-angle mono camera works alongside the well-established Eyesight driver assist system that's been a staple of Subaru vehicles for many years. Now, according to Subaru, the wide-angle mono camera acts as an extra set of eyes, extending the recognition range beyond the viewing angle of the stereo cameras. Now, this enhancement also contributes to safety by being able to identify pedestrians and bicycles when the vehicle approaches an intersection at low speeds. With the camera mounted on the windshield, it becomes imperative to calibrate whenever the windshield replacement is performed. Now, this calibration also requires a new target. This is the LAM01-31, and it's also recommended that you perform this calibration first, and upon successful calibration, you can then proceed to calibrate the Eyesight cameras. So let's go ahead and dive into this calibration process. As with all ADAS calibration, it all begins with the VCI, our vehicle communication interface, which happens to be conveniently located here in our 801 tablet. So we'll get this plugged into the vehicle's OBD2 port. Next, we'll turn the vehicle's ignition on. And then we'll click on ADAS calibration on the tablet. So we have communication established between the VCI and the tablet. And now we're reading the VIN information from the vehicle. This is a North American-based Subaru, so we'll choose North America. We'll get a response back indicating the VIN code as well as the year and the model of the vehicle, so I'll say yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select ADAS System Scan. We'll go ahead and run a pre-repair report so we make sure all of the, we can see what codes that may be currently on the vehicle. Now, this is a demonstration vehicle, so we do not currently have any DTCs present. But we'll move forward as if it did. So we'll hit save, click on the back arrow, and then we'll select ADAS calibration function. We'll select front camera calibration. And here you'll see a couple of different choices. For this one, we're going to focus on the wide angle camera. So we're going to choose the optical axis adjustment for the wide angle camera. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and get a warning statement here saying that we're going to be making an adjustment to the vehicle, so make sure we're using the proper tools. Also have the sort of prerequisite steps of why are we doing this calibration, for example. So in this case here, we're going to pretend we did a windshield replacement, so we're going to have to recalibrate that camera. So some of the prerequisites, again, as I mentioned, for calibration is you want to make sure that the vehicle is on level ground, that you don't have any distracting visuals in front of the vehicle camera. You want to make sure all the doors are closed, the headlights are turned off, at least a 3/4 to full tank of gas, and just like, again, anything in the visual field of the camera to be free and clear. So with that, we'll go ahead and move forward. So the next point here on our tablet is asking us which calibration frame we're using. So here we're going to demonstrate on our ADAS Pro Plus. So I'll select that. And the next series of steps will be performed outside of the vehicle here, and it'll be starting with resetting the calibration frame. So we'll go ahead and do that next. So we're here at the frame to go ahead and reset this to our default positions. There are 3 positions on this frame that can be adjusted. There's a fore and aft adjustment, there's a side-to-side or parallel adjustment, and then there's the yaw adjustment. And all of that can be set to default first, so I'll show you that right now. So down here with the fore and aft, we can adjust it. We have a little marker here on the base of the frame. Shows us where we're at center. Same with our side-to-side or parallel movement. I can adjust it here with our marker position here at center. And last, we have our yaw adjustment. So we'll go ahead and dial that in. And we're set there. So we'll move on to the next step. The next step is to install the ranging panel and wheel clamps. We'll start here at the ranging panel, which will be placed at the front wheel hub center, such as this. And we just want to make sure that this is dead center with the hub, as well as being perpendicular with the vehicle. Okay, and then we'll move over to the rear. And we'll be installing the wheel clamp. We have two bubble indicators here, one over here. Make sure that's level, seated flat on the tire, and then we'll adjust this to be 90 degrees with the ground there. And this will be performed on the driver's side rear wheel as well. With our ranging panel and wheel clamp in place, the next step is to have our frame distance set. So the specification calls for it to be at 4,000 millimeters. So I'm going to start by flipping on our central laser here. That's going to help me keep the frame as centered to the vehicle as possible. And next I'm going to go ahead and turn on the distance laser. And this is a laser that's pointed to the front ranging panel that we placed earlier. So it looks like I'm at about 3,700 millimeters at the moment, and I need to be at 4,000. So I'm going to bring the stand back just close enough to be at 4. We can fine tune at another step here. And then again, I'm just going to go ahead and try to center this as close as possible to the vehicle. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step. And that is to make sure that the frame is level. So there are some spirit indicators located here at the top, or bubble indicators if you will. I'm pretty much level. Looks like I just need to be up a little bit on the left side here. So I'm going to crank this one up. And we are pretty much at level. So with that, I will go ahead and lock down our casters. I'm going to go ahead and fine tune our distance. And then we'll go ahead and center the stand to the vehicle. And our next step is to go ahead and adjust the parallelness of the stand. So that is the yaw positioning of it that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to turn on our two side lasers here. Now these lasers are pointed to the rear of the vehicle, the wheel clamp ranging panels. So we'll go ahead and get that one set. And here all we're doing is we're equaling out the two values. So I'm about 69.85 on the left, 68.99 on the right. So that means we're pitched a little bit to the right side here, or the driver's side. So I'm going to turn this to the right. And looks like we're right about there. So with the yaw adjustment complete, we'll now go ahead and fine tune the frame to make sure that we're still parallel. So looking at the central laser there, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the parallelness of the frame so that we get it back to center. And looks like we're right about there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. So the next step is to go ahead and install the targets. Now this is the target for this particular calibration is the LAM01-31. There's 3 separate targets. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and I'm going to go ahead and power off our central laser and I'm going to remove it. We'll take the first target. Now these are all the same, so it doesn't matter which one you choose, but you can see in the back here, it's the LAM01-31. So we'll start with that one. And for the two sides, they need to be have a spreading distance of about 770 millimeters from center. So using our scale that's built into the stand here, I'm going to set this passenger side here to 770. I'm going to do the same here for the driver's side. So we have both sides locked down at 770, and then we'll go ahead and install the rest of the targets. Okay, so with all the targets in place, I'll go ahead and move on to the next step. And that's going to be to adjust the height of the frame. And the specifications for this is 1350 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and switch on our height laser. Now we're currently at 1131 millimeters. So that means I'm going to be increasing the height of the frame. So I have a power button over here, and it's a motorized lift. So let's go ahead and get that up to 1350. All right, so we're set to 1350 and we're ready to calibrate. So with the calibration frame all set up, I'm going to go ahead and stand behind the sight line of the camera, and then I'll go ahead and press the calibration button on the tablet. Okay, so we'll go ahead and press yes, and then we'll press OK. Okay, we've got a normally completed calibration, and I need to go ahead and cycle the ignition off for 5 seconds. Okay, next we'll go ahead and confirm the ADAS report. And here we can go ahead and add a picture of the vehicle with the calibration frame in the background, just so that shows we performed this function or this calibration. So we'll add that. And we'll go ahead and save the report. Now we're going to go ahead and run another system scan. And when you run the scan, you will see a DTC come back for the Eyesight system. This is because we need to go ahead and perform the Eyesight system calibration next. But in the case of the report, I'm going to go ahead and clear the DTCs so that we get a clean report for the wide angle mono camera calibration. So do that. And then we'll go ahead and add in our pre-repair as well as our diagnostic scan report, and that's going to give us our completed post-repair report for the mono camera calibration. So next we'll go ahead and start in on setting up the calibration frame for the Eyesight cameras. Okay, so we're back here ready to do the Eyesight camera calibration. So we'll go ahead and start with the ADAS calibration button here. Our VCI is still plugged into the OBD2 port, and we're still key on. So here we're making a connection with VCI. We're now reading the vehicle information. And here we're going to go ahead and again state that this is a North American based Subaru. We get that information back on our screen. We say yes to that. We're going to go ahead and hit ADAS system scan. We'll run our scan again, and of course we just cleared everything from the last scan, so it should all be clean and green. But we're going to go ahead and generate our pre-repair report from that. So we have the pre-repair. We'll save it, and then we'll move into ADAS calibration function, front camera calibration, and this time we're going to go ahead and choose camera all adjustment mode. So we'll select that. Next, we need to deactivate the ADAS calibration, deactivate the ADAS function in the vehicle. So we'll hit the car icon there. We'll select driving assistance. We'll go and turn off the pre-collision, and we'll turn off the lane departure. And so with both settings off, we can go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, so here we're just given the same warning as we did earlier that we must be using the proper ADAS calibration tool. We'll say OK to that. Again, these are our prerequisite steps. Again, for why we're doing this. Again, we're pretending we did a windshield replacement, and then of course all the pre-calibration steps. So we'll be exiting the vehicle, of course, once we get this rolling here. So we hit OK, and we choose our calibration frame. We're still using our ADAS Pro Plus, so we select that. Next, we're going to choose which target we're using. We have two different versions of this LAM01-15 target. You will see that we have the white one already set up on our calibration frame out there. So I'm going to go ahead and choose target A. And then normally we would have to go through the steps of resetting the calibration frame if this was purely just the Eyesight camera that we were calibrating. However, we've already performed the front wide angle mono camera. All of the settings are the same except for the height. So we'll go ahead, and of course the target. So here I'm just going to go ahead and go through these steps. So we don't need to do any of the ranging panels because we're all set up from that perspective. The distance is still 4,000 millimeters, just as it was for our first calibration, so we don't need to do anything with that. The frame is already leveled, and again, everything is paralleled or perpendicular, however way you want to look at it, with the frame and the vehicle. So we can move forward on all of these steps here. Now we're going to go ahead and head outside and make sure our calibration frame is set properly on there. I should say the target. And I believe we've already got it positioned, but we will go ahead and verify that the height is going to be changed. It was 1350 for the mono camera. This target will be 1260. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we are going to set our frame down from the 1350 height, which was used in the previous calibration. Using this Target LAM01-31, the target height for this will be 1260. So I'm bringing down the calibration frame to 1260. Gonna dial that up here. All right, and we are set. Okay, so with the target all set up, I'm going to go ahead and stand behind the sight line of the camera. We'll go ahead and click on calibration. We'll press OK. And I got an accuracy rate of 99%. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the ignition off so we can get the adjustments saved into memory. And we'll leave that off for 10 seconds. And then we'll go ahead and press OK. We'll get that keyed back on. So we have a prompt here indicating that the stereo cameras have been set properly. Now we can perform a dynamic calibration. I'm not going to do that at this current moment, but that would be the next step. So we'll move forward on that. So the next step is to perform the dynamic calibration. So that's where we'll have to drive the vehicle. So we'll go ahead and get everything put away from our calibration frames, and then we'll head out for a drive. All right, so we're all set here to do the dynamic portion of the calibration. You notice here I've already got the pre-collision and the lane departure in the off position here as per the tablet. Next, we'll just need to drive the vehicle at speeds of 25 miles or more. Assuming we've got some good roads here, we should be able to get this done within 5 minutes or so. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. We'll go ahead and say OK to this. Do you want to start automatic adjustment function? We'll say OK. And now we are in the dynamic mode. So we'll go ahead and start driving. All right, so we just completed the dynamic portion of the calibration here. I got our 0F status. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK on the tablet here and letting us know now to confirm the ADAS report. So I'll say OK. We'll go ahead and hit OK here. And this will create our diagnostic scan showing a success on the dynamic portion of the calibration. So then I will go ahead and run another vehicle scan for the ADAS systems to make sure we're all clean and green. And no DTCs came back. So we'll now generate our post-repair report. And we'll go ahead and add in our original pre-repair as well as our diagnostic scan. And finish this off with our final completed report here showing the success of the dynamic and static portion of the calibration. So this completes the forward camera, both the wide angle camera as well as the Eyesight camera calibration for this 2023 Subaru Ascent. We hope you've found the video helpful, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye for now.